If stillness is the source of your best decisions, why is your calendar built like it's trying to kill it? Be honest. When was the last time your biggest breakthrough happened in a meeting? Not a brainstorm, not a sprint, not a Slack war. I'm talking about the idea that actually changed your trajectory. The hire you finally understood, the product pivot that suddenly made sense. It probably happened in the car, or on a walk, or on a random Thursday where you ditched work and went snowboarding. And yet your calendar looks like a competitive sport. Back-to-backs, 15-minute blocks, quick syncs, fast follows, rapid alignment. Alignment with what? Most founders are not blocked by strategy, they're blocked by noise. And now we're adding AI to the noise. So here's the deep question. If stillness is the source of your best decisions, why is your calendar built like it's trying to kill it? Welcome to AI for Founders, I'm Ryan Estes. Today you're going to learn how a builder thinks after an exit, why exploration is not procrastination, and what AI native actually means. If you're serious about product health and human behavior, and you want leverage without turning your life into tab toggling, this is for you. My guest is Alyssa Edom from Inkfish Studio. She built AI agents in healthcare specifically to support clinicians and to solve staffing bottlenecks, then exited after about a year and a half and did the things most founders refuse to do. She stopped, traveled solo, got present, let her attention tell her what to build next. And the big takeaway for your company is this: don't use AI because it's powerful, use it because it's intentional. If the system is broken, AI does not fix it, it makes it break faster. Also, AI native is not a chatbot. Chat interfaces should die. AI native is picking the exact moments in the workflow where prediction, pattern matching, and reasoning actually change what's possible, surfacing what matters before the user even knows to ask. Instead of building another chat box, build a product that watches the process, detects the bottleneck, predicts the next step, and removes the need for 5 apps and 30 tabs. Less typing, more outcomes. Go subscribe to the newsletter at aiforfounders.co. It's for founders building in the mess, not founders collecting prompts like trading cards. If you want ideas that ship and frameworks that punch back, you'll like it. That's the newsletter at aiforfounders.co. And please leave a review of the podcast by writing one sentence that would make your smartest friend immediately hit play. Quick plug for kitcaster.com. If you want to be the guest on shows your customers already trust, Kitcaster books you on top podcasts, manages the outreach, and turns your founder story into pipeline. More authority, more leads, less grind. Kitcaster.com. That's Kitcaster by Moburst. We're rolling. Alyssa, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're back at the AI Clubhouse. I think this might be the 4th or 5th podcast I've done here. And it's just the best environment, is it not?
It's awesome.
Yeah. We're in the Star Trek chairs, so it's got this kind of cool acoustic, kind of absorbent.
Yeah. There's some sound absorption. It's kind of like when you're outside, it's freshly snown.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can tell like there was a lot of thought that went into like 60s and 70s furniture when like we want to create a space where people can have conversation, and but it's muted. It's more private.
Yeah.
So it's like the perfect podcast chair.
Well, I think we just used to think more about design, period.
Yeah.
But
and had a little more fun.
It's
amazing.
Yeah. How quirky.
The Scandinavians took over, and now everything's minimal. What about overstuffed? No, it's over.
Just make it 3 times as big.
Well, maybe we're all 3 times as big as well.
Maybe.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to talk to you. We met through Hampton. So usually I find out all about somebody's business and their work first and then hang, but we kind of went the opposite route.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we did Fire and Ice together.
Yeah.
We did Sonic Cold.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
With Eric.
Yeah.
His place, what is it, Muscle Mountain?
Yeah.
Amazing. That was super fun. So like you can get to know somebody a little bit when you're sweating on them, I suppose.
Yeah, and also like standing outside in 30 degrees in your bathing suit.
Yeah. Exactly. He's like, come on, man, get in the cold plunge. I'm like, no, man, I don't want to do that. Do it. You know, Eric, so you're like, all right, I'm going to earn this steak.
Fine, let's do it.
Let's do it. Amazing. So, but that's just to say that I guess I know you personally first, and then I'm really excited to talk to you about your work because you always have amazing projects and stuff you're working on.
Thank you.
So let's dive right in. Give us a little introduction to kind of the maybe projects or work or how you're approaching work these days.
Oh, how am I approaching works these days? I would say that I have been in what I would call my exploratory phase of life for the last, call it 7 months. For a while, I was just kind of trying a bunch of different things. And I was like, yeah, this seems interesting. This seems interesting. I started diving more into trading. And I was like, cool, I'm going to spend a few months trading. Let me see how much this is captivating my attention. Got really into content for a while, worked on a couple of different projects. And over the last, say, 3 or 4 months of that exploration, I've just kind of slowly seen what has naturally fallen off for my attention. So one of my goals right now when I'm approaching work is what is not feeling like work and what is driving a lot of passion in me. And so I'm doing a little bit of consulting. I'm working on some side projects that I'm really excited about that I hope to be able to turn into a business. And this is all post exit from a health tech AI company that I was running. Yeah.
So that was the event 7 months ago that set you on this like self-discovery journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the exit a little bit.
Yeah. So we were building basically AI agents, some of the, I guess, first AI agents within the healthcare space. We were using them to help staff clinicians, so mostly nurses and other types of clinical support roles, and kind of found a strategic investor who was willing to buy the technology. I spent a few months working with them, kind of offboarding, and that was great. It was a really fun and interesting experience to run that business, and I'm really glad and learned a lot. And it also happened really, really fast. So
Incredible. How
Yeah.
long were you working on the project?
like a year and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beginning to end, year and a half.
hmm
Incredible. Are you comfortable sharing any details about the exit?
Um,
Ballpark?
no,
Rhyming?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Nice.
But thank you for trying.
Of course.
I appreciate. You got to, right?
Yeah. Well, Alyssa showed up. She had diamond grills and like a big wrapper chain. So I
Yeah.
know it must have been unbelievable.
Rolled up in the Royce.
Cool. Yeah. Exits are amazing, but it also can be kind of a little destabilizing because obviously you put so much into a project and then there's like an end. And you're like, well, what's next?
Yeah.
So it is a little destabilizing. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm also really grateful. The one that I was surrounded by people who had been through exits before. So I kind of was able to, through Hampton and Core Group, kind of talk about that pretty immediately. And so I had that kind of feedback from people who had been through that process already. I think it's also a decision that, like, I'm a deeply self-reflective person. So I had already, kind of done the internal math on, like, this is the right move.
Yeah.
And even though it's maybe not exactly the path and like the vision that I thought it might play out at when I started it, I was grateful for the journey and kind of how it all ended up unfolding. And I was ready for it. And destabilizing in the sense of, like, there's more this kind of abyss that you then are looking out at of, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And that abyss is, it's being on a tiny sailboat in a big ocean.
The best advice I get is it's like, take time off. Take time
Yeah.
off. Don't dive right into a new project. How much time did you take off?
So I took, like, I traveled for about a month, little under a month, 3 weeks in Italy by myself. It's great.
Cool.
Yeah. That was awesome. I still was doing some work as part of, like, the transitionary period through the acquisition. So wasn't immediately taking that break.
Sure.
And then some of the ideas that I'd had already were kind of percolating in my brain for a couple of years. And so spent a little time before going on my trip to really think about those problems, and then took a solid 3 weeks off.
3 weeks. So
Yeah.
good 3 weeks you took off.
Yeah. Hard work out here.
That tracks. Yeah, I think stillness is like a muscle,
Yeah.
so you work on it. If you become accustomed to stillness, I can tell you got deep roots, so it's like, 3 weeks that's good. It's ample. It's
Yeah.
that good. Because work is fun, right?
Work is fun if you're doing it right. And I think I took lessons from that where I've realized how much importance stillness and space have for the creative process.
Yeah.
And so like even coming back from that, like I was still a really slow ramp up to working. And I also still try and carry those like mantras. And so if I'm like killing myself over working for 3 days straight, I'm like, okay, you need some time off.
Yeah.
You need a break, and you need to give yourself this space to think. And I think that's a really underrated thing that when you're running businesses, you don't want to do that, and it feels like a high cost. But for me, at least personally, like I need that reset time in order for my brain to like let these ideas sit with inside of myself.
I totally agree. It seems like, if for no other reason, it's like just the kind of brain fog when you're like overdoing it. You know, people talk about burnout, but I never feel like it's burnout largely because it's so fun, you know, doing big projects, and like the whole thing can be absolutely excruciating at times, but
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't ever get burned out. I could absolutely push the gas to the floor all the time, but the problem is that just the quality of attention, quality, you know, that's at least where I'm rationalizing this. But you got to have that space in there so that, you know, there's kind of invigorating. There's room for something to pop in. You know, 'cause
Yeah.
it's like the kind of novelty and serendipity of like new ideas needs to be nurtured.
Yeah. I know, like I'm doing some consulting work right now, and let's see, last week, Thursday, I went snowboarding for the first time this year, RIP winter 2026 in
Dude,
Denver.
man, it's unbelievably bad.
It's so bad. But as I was driving up, I was doing a lot of self-reflecting. You know, you have an hour and a half time to sit with your thoughts.
It must have been a weekday.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would have been 3 hours. It was Thursday. So I took a weekday off because I try and avoid going up on the weekends. And was chatting with my client as I was pulling into the parking lot because I had sent him a Substack article I wrote, and he was like, I'm really enjoying this. And I added on a bunch of thoughts, and some of those thoughts were around how much space is important. And I said, a startup exec is probably not thinking about how additive sitting in a parking lot on a Thursday morning and trying to go snowboarding is, but half of these thoughts I just told you I wouldn't have had I not been driving up here because I came up with them on the way up here.
100%. At some point, you're just never not one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I like the contemplative stuff, you know, whether it's yoga or meditation or things like that, because then your attention isn't necessarily to clear your mind, but rather have a place to invite and to enter and invite to leave.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I've been reading or listening to Scarcity Brain, and it's about the scarcity loop mostly. And the author kind of runs through a bunch of different scenarios in which the scarcity loop is at play in humans. And what they've actually found from like a behavioral and cognitive perspective is that our exploration is where our exploration is like one of the places in which creativity thrives the most. And that is distinctly tied to how we evolved as animals, because exploration was about taking in new information and connecting pathways and learning new data. And that new data meant survival.
Mm-hmm.
And so by moving and exploring, they've actually found an exploration gene.
Really?
Yes. That some people are more predispositioned to this gene that makes them more willing to explore, more willing to take higher risks. And it basically just creates this drive in us to connect more dots, because that's how we used to move through the world.
Yeah. So there's like an emotional incentive to start, and then incentive at the end is caloric, probably. It's fast.
Yeah, I would say there's a primal incentive to start.
Yeah.
Maybe even more than an emotional one.
Yeah. It seems like exploration has two types, though. Like if you're walking into a valley, there's the folks that want to go to the top of the mountain, and then the people that want to go to. Which one are you?
Ooh. That's going to depend on the day. Honestly, probably default is more water. I resonate more, connect more with water, so I kind of want to follow the path of the river.
Agreed. I'm definitely a river guy.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about El Dorado Canyon. I go down there, go fishing. I see all those people climbing up there. I'm like, for what?
I feel like you climb a mountain once, you've done it, you know?
Right. Exactly. I know what's up there. It's a rock. It's a dusty rock.
You've done 114er. You've done them all.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm more of like I would say more than the explorer. I'm more of a wanderer.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I
I'm
want to find
definitely
like
a wanderer.
I want to find a little
Yeah.
spot that's like preserved and untouched and has like some kind of cool mushrooms in there and like this
Mm-hmm.
little biome. You find that in Colorado all the time. Where there's like pockets. You're like,
Oh, where?
"Ooh." It's like it's everywhere. It's like small, like low, and you have to move
Mm.
slowly. You know, and there'll be some like stump that's like 200 years old. It's all decrepit and has all this weird whole biome of it. I just love that like
Yeah,
stuff.
you have to have some awareness and some presence to
Yeah.
notice it. Yeah,
Yeah. There's
presence was a big theme of my fall.
of your
My
Nice.
my Italy travels. Yeah,
cool
yeah,
presence.
yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I was just talking to this guy about these explorers. Like Shackleton is probably the most famous guy for the South Pole,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of famous that he got 97 miles from like the true South Pole, and like looked at his food, looked at his men, and we're like, so he took a lot of stuff for that because
Yeah.
like you could have been the guy, and then the guy that followed him was like to beat Shackleton. He arrived to the same point and was like, we're gonna make it, and so they pushed through, and they all froze to death. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm like those kind of explorers. They have if there's explorer gene, that's not the one you want.
No, well, not to that extent. You want that survival gene to balance you out a little bit.
That rational gene to be like, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of snow and ice. It's probably the same. Like,
Not
let's just
today.
call it a day.
Not today.
I only have 6 biscuits left. You know, what are we gonna do over there? Cool. Okay, so I want to come back to your company that you left, which is kind of a healthcare AI platform or technology,
Mhm.
and it was specifically for staffing.
Yes.
Man, that seems like gold. Do you know Katie? She's with JobStream.
I don't.
She's in Hampton.
Okay.
She's wonderful. She sponsored the podcast. And for my Denver newsletter, we do a lot of like her job postings. So basically she gets kind of all these exclusive postings, but it's like literally like just nurses positions all day long. Like it's such a dire
Yeah.
situation they're in that like there's so much need right now, you know?
Yeah, and I think we don't look at staffing as a supply chain issue because it feels weird to like think of humans as a piece of a supply
As
chain.
inventory.
Yeah, as inventory, but it really is like partly a massive supply chain and logistics problem.
Yeah.
And I think the most surprising thing I learned from working in it is just also how seasonal that employment is. So like a lot of travel nursing and stuff comes from surges that happen on a seasonal cadence, which was really intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was talking to another guy. He's a chief nurse. I think he manages 120 nurses at like an IC or an unit for children. And he's like, dude, we can't hire anybody. I'm like, dude, seems like the worst job I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, well, the burnout is real for nurses too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's, and then you're with kids, which is just like heart wrenching. But then you have the other patients, which is their family that are, it's a hot job market, so to speak.
Yeah, it is. It is a hot job market.
Any takeaways from like AI, health tech, any opportunities that you are really excited about?
Within AI in healthcare or just AI in general?
In healthcare specifically, because, I interviewed a bunch of people that are doing a lot of really cool things. And there's so many different facets and so many big roadblocks in the industry itself. Like any words of caution as far as developing products in kind of that arena?
Well, I would say that rarely are problems unique to one industry. And I think the biggest takeaway I could say when looking at implementing AI is being intentional about what you're using it for and why you're using it. And I think that's where a lot of people are missing the mark maybe right now, where it's like there's an external pressure to use AI because it's there and it's powerful to fix existing systems. Most of the time, the existing system is already broken. So if you just try and plug in another tool to fix a broken system, you're not actually fixing anything.
Yeah.
You're just maybe making that system work a little bit faster and break a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And so with anything when you're plugging in, I think thinking about what actually needs to evolve in the entire ecosystem around the problem I'm trying to solve? And is there anything I can also do to try and solve that? Or at least being aware of the risks of that entire ecosystem around the problem space that you're trying to solve.
Totally. And there seems like there's, maybe the last 6 months, kind of saw a lot of AI wrappers going around existing products.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to, it's kind of like that. It's like there's like a shiny button, like,
Yeah.
Versus like kind of an AI native product. So how would you define like an AI product?
I think it's a little bit of a hard distinction, I would say. I mean, so my background's in design. So if you're coming and asking the designer and me, I would say it is not building a chatbot. And
Chat interface must die.
yeah. And I think it is about intelligently selecting the pieces in the software lifecycle where it makes sense to interject AI. Because it does truly make certain things a lot more technically feasible and a lot faster than what we've historically been able to do. And so its ability to reason on very abstract, seemingly abstract concepts, like to a human is not abstract, but to a data table is very abstract if it's not an exact match. And I think surfacing things and being more predictive in clever ways is really where I would like to see more AI native solutions go.
I totally agree. The predictive aspect is to me what gets me most excited, when it sees what I want and delivers it for me first.
Yes,
Maybe even before I know I want it,
that's good.
Which doesn't take AI. It probably barely takes I. It's like, what time is it? 4:00? I'll be reaching for a beer here in a second. I want that robot to just like bring it to me and be like, did you want this? You know me so well.
Yeah, every day at 4.
And there's interesting kind of steps and tools. There was one I was playing with called Lemon. Hey Lemon AI. Have you seen that one?
I haven't.
Kind of like it's basically taking like Whisper Flow, but it works on top of your browser and your machine. So you could Whisper Flow if you're just like dictating to it and hit enter. So you're missing the chat function, which is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
This would be like, you could say like, do research on Alyssa before my interview, put it into a Google Doc and email it to me.
Yeah.
And it just goes like,
That's incredible.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Does it work?
Kinda.
That's the statement of the century when it comes to AI, isn't it?
Exactly. It kind of works, and you have to wait for it, and then you have to double check it and make sure, and then you're like, it was close, but I actually have, 17 email addresses, and you picked the wrong one. You know what I mean? So there's things around it, but basically it's trying to kind of eliminate so much, tab toggling.
Yeah.
So you don't have to open up three things. You can just tell it and give it tasks, and like it kind of works.
Yeah.
And it's slow.
Yeah.
I imagine if you got it all fully integrated and stuff, but it was also just a massive RAM suck, so I had to like uninstall it, restart, because it was like, dude, this is slowing everything down.
Yeah.
So that was a little disappointing.
That's a bummer.
But the predictive nature of the tools themselves, like I'm really looking for people who are doing that well, and I would love recommendations if people are listening and they're like tip of their tongue, they've got something, because it's hard to get right, because if it gets it wrong, you hate it.
Yeah.
But once we're at a position where it's anticipating things, and particularly, having a conversation around health, because we're entering this era of like diagnosis for one, where there's so much, biofeedback that is available to us now from like an Oura Ring or like a Apple Watch. Interviewed another guy, Canary, who's got a really cool tool that actually listens to your voice, and it can sense like mental health things and, Alzheimer's, and do diagnosis for Parkinson's from like your voice. So I feel like there's only going to be more and more biofeedback that we're going to be able to have to incorporate into these tools that can then do predictive analysis of everything from like, you walk into the room and it's like, it switches the channel from whatever my son's watching to the Nuggets game because it knows who's boss. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of really interesting things coming out in the health space, just from like an ownership, like a patient ownership perspective, which is really intriguing to me, versus I think historically, a lot of patient records have been owned by facilities, and now
Yeah.
we're kind of moving away and moving more towards like a democratization of patients owning more of their outcomes. But I think I'm excited to see how patients can collaborate more with their care providers using data that's not historically been available.
Super cool. And then so you have the diagnosis aspect that's really it's coming right now.
Yeah.
And then you have like the custom therapy and treatments that's coming right behind it.
Yeah.
So then it's going to be able to take that data and like, oh, actually, you need to supplement your diet with this, and also maybe this pharmaceutical thing would benefit here.
Yeah.
And so you're getting this very personalized touch, ultimately giving you better care, giving the 13 minutes you get to spend with your general healthcare practitioner, maybe a little bit more about your emotion.
Yeah, actually, I know a founder who is building AI that is basically supposed to help replicate the care that I'm probably butchering this description, but she's a former Olympian, and the app is called Revel, and it's primarily focused around basically creating like a digital twin, so you can get extremely high performance, like athlete level care around the clock. So it kind of understands who you are and will replicate a care team of personal trainers and things like that.
Cool. Is it like a video, or is it a robot? Or
I believe it's like just an app, an AI app. I think they might have a talk feature. I haven't spoken with her since their relaunch, but yeah, I mean, it's a super intriguing concept, and I know they were working more towards getting like some video things in play. I'm not quite sure where they stand currently.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be less lazy using some of these tools.
Yeah.
Because ultimately the nice thing about having an Oura ring or something is it's just going to do it naturally. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Like, don't
Yeah.
make me do it thing. But now I'm doing it. Particularly with the Cal AI. I'm
Okay.
having a lot of fun with that.
I haven't used that one.
It's pretty cool. And I had it and I was like, just like any kind of calorie tracking, if like, I'm just speaking
Okay.
personally.
Yeah.
If I'm really counting my macros and I'm really being honest with it, it fills me with self-loathing.
Yeah.
Like, you really ate 5 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches last night. You did do that. So you better put it in the app,
I mean, that's it. Is it better? Is it like one of the better apps that you've used?
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
good. And I think honestly, because it seems like it shaves maybe 150 calories off the meals. Because I'm like, that's not.
It's got to be 6.
I'm like, I like this app.
That's
you know?
awesome.
But it's cool. And so it basically takes like what MyFitnessPal was doing, but you could just take a picture and it
Oh,
analyzes.
it's so much easier.
It's easier and it's cheaper. I think it's like $50 a
Yeah.
year, where like MyFitnessPal was what, $30 a month?
Yeah.
And you still have to calculate to put in the ingredients, and it's just kind of like a drag.
Yeah.
So this is easy to get accustomed to. And so I've been pretty disciplined about it. And it's got a groups feature. And actually, I was thinking of actually publishing that in the newsletter and seeing if other people are using it, if they want to join a group.
Cool.
And maybe I'll do that, because then you can kind of like see other people's meals. I'm doing it with my buddy Vince right now, and he's also very lazy with the app. But it's cool when you see like, oh man, that flaxseed cereal with strawberries looks amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. The stuff about like the hard thing about a lot of those apps is like just maintaining the habit of trying to input everything. And like I've used one that's for women's health, specifically like mental health. So it's called Prickly Pear, and it basically tracks kind of emotional sentiment using voice as well over time, and like daily journals, and helps hold you to specific tasks. And so it's kind of passively measuring cognition over time, using your daily entries and your tone of voice to understand maybe your current mental state that's not as obvious, which is really interesting.
So it's like a spoken journal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Does it give you prompts and like ask you?
Yeah, it gives you.
Day, like, I feel like shit.
Yeah, it gives you a few prompts, and then at the end of the day, or at the end of the prompt structure, you get kind of like a little, hey, here's where we're measuring you today.
And it reads your voice inflection.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. You can't type. Can only voice.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
this kind of like actually kind of ties into like my personal vision right now.
Oh yeah. What's your personal vision?
So I like to have like a gigantic goal, because then all the million tasks to get to that goal, you just need to get a million of them done. So my vision is to write and perform a solo acoustic blues album
Beautiful.
on the beach of a deserted island alone.
I love that.
Yeah. And it's a monumental task, because obviously all my business interests, all my family interests, everything has to be so secure and buttoned up that I can just bounce. Plus, I will have to have written all those songs, practice all those songs,
Yeah.
so I could just sit up and do it. But also the voice, that's a big part. That's probably the last final tough component, because in order to make the kind of, dusty blues album I want, your voice has to have like, it has to be calm. It has to have kind of like a melancholic sorrow, but it has to have like joy. There has to be a quality of the voice that's hard to like actually get to place emotionally and mentally.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, writing music in and of itself is hard enough.
Right.
Let alone the state to perform it. And like, I think a lot of people who don't write don't realize that when you're recording it, you're performing it, and not just like performing it by physically doing it, but like you have to like really reach a piece of yourself that isn't always accessible.
Totally. It definitely isn't. You're a singer.
Yes.
Cool. What kind of music?
Oh God, I haven't really been writing the last few years. I was a bit busy. But
A little bit.
Mostly I just kind of do a lot of cover songs, and then I write here and there when the passion strikes me, mostly just acoustic stuff. I don't know if I have a style. I would like to get more into production.
Cool.
I had grand plans to do that during COVID, and I made it 30% of the way there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Guitar player?
Yeah.
Amazing.
My first instrument was drums, though, and I do think that's my most natural instrument is percussion.
Favorite drummer?
Oh, Anderson .Paak.
Ooh, good choice.
He's so
Deep
good.
cut.
Yeah, he's so
New
good.
cat.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
And man, he's so impressive.
He's so fun.
Yeah.
Talk about a voice.
Yeah. Just talent. Just talk about talent.
So amazing. Yeah, for the Dre Super Bowl, that was my favorite thing, to see him up there playing drums. It was great.
Yeah.
Love that. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Music kind of came back really strong for me, because, I'd in a former life, I'd making records and touring and stuff like that, and then just put it away, And my son was asking me about the music. I played rap metal.
Fun.
Or new metal. It was
Okay.
like my bands.
Fun.
He was like, Dad, what were your inspiration? I was like, Beastie Boys, Rage Against the Machine,
Yeah. Check.
Public Enemy,
Got it.
So that was the vibe.
Yeah.
That was the vibe at the time.
Yeah.
The whole genre got really bastardized by some bad actors.
I agree with
Not
that.
that like Limp Bizkit is horrible, but like they just like made the whole thing a clown. It's like I like the Roots, and like I like serious music that was doing that. Anyway, so I was talking about these kind of influences, and I was like, what's the influences on the band? I was like, the stuff that I really like is like the old dusty Delta blues stuff, Robert Johnson and Mississippi John Hurt, and all these fingerstyle players. Like that's the style that I play guitar. And he's like, what's that? And I felt like terrible father. I was like, oh, you don't even know this stuff, man. I was like, okay. And he's a great kid. He loves like 40s music and trap and like everything, but like he's really has a good ear and is open to it. So we started going through all that stuff. So I started pulling the guitars out. That's kind of where this like idea, this kind of vision crystallizes, because I could feel it.
Okay.
I could be on the beach. I could smell it. I could feel the guitar texture in my hand in, this aspect of quality of my voice, which, usually I sound like this. It's like horrible, So it's like something I would have to have been like drinking lemon tea, like all these things come in. So when I hear people that are using the voice as like a diagnosis tool, or like just like as a vector of examination, it's very interesting, because I think there's
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's been, I think, kind of hard to do that. But I don't think it's just even voice. It's inflection plus content, right?
Yeah.
And that, I think, has historically been more difficult, maybe. Maybe also the data processing is just faster.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could
I
be
don't know
what
where
it
I'm going with
reminds me
that.
of, like, what do they call that when you study someone's handwriting?
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
always
yeah,
fascinated
yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
you know?
It might be the new handwriting.
I know, because who writes with their hands?
But then the problem is you have deep fakes and
That's true.
duplicating voices. So is it a fingerprint anymore?
That sounds like something I would do if I was really pissed off. I wouldn't want the app to know. So I'd use a deep fake to do my journal entry so it wouldn't know the real emotional
Yeah.
state.
So you could hide from your AI. Is that the next
I don't want the AI judging me. Be like, dude, you were on such a good streak, man. I can hear it in your voice.
the next frontier of AI? How do you hide from your AI?
Exactly. You know? But there is something to that too, man. It's like when you realize that, like, your medical records are free for examinations from the insurance companies and everything you say to your doctor gets disclosed. It's like, great, now I have this weird relationship where I'm not being 100% truthful with my doctor because I don't know how it's going to affect my premiums.
I mean, honestly, I kind of already feel that way as a woman, so that's fine.
Exactly. They talked to me at my interview with the doctor. How do you feel? Great.
It seemed super fantastic.
I feel awesome. I need some really big painkillers. Do I have to talk about that, do I? I'm not in pain. I'm not, but I am in pain. Really. Just kidding. I'm not a painkiller guy. I would love to go back to what you were talking about in Italy, where this idea of presence was coming up.
Mhm.
Like, what did you mean by that?
Well, how deep do you want to go?
All the way down.
Great.
I'm not crying.
Great,
You're asking.
great. So I think, how aware are you of consciousness, subconsciousness, unconsciousness?
Depend. Yeah.
Okay.
Lifelong.
Okay, great. Yeah. So TLDR, there's like kind of these three modalities of operating where we operate at a conscious level. That's me, you talking, having this conversation now. You're picking up my words exactly as how I'm stating them. And some third party observer is able to make some sort of understanding of our context and our relationship.
Sure.
Or our conversation. And then there's like kind of the unconscious level where that's actually coming up in terms of how you and I are both experiencing this conversation differently, even though we're having the same conversation at the same moment in time. And then there's the like unconscious level, which is like much more of your like deep-seated primal drivers, maybe some childhood things in there,
Sure.
like kind of all of the things in life that you don't have as much awareness of, and how it's impacting how you show up as you move through the world.
That'd be like if you had a cousin named Ryan that you hated, kind of enter this conversation subconsciously with like
Yeah.
a certain chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, like I don't like Ryans. Yeah.
Ryans are horrible.
Yeah. But we don't know it, right? I probably don't realize it, but maybe. And so I think for me, I look at the world in terms of how much we operate at a very conscious level, and we don't often pay attention to the lower levels. And one of my goals is to try and understand, probably really within the last like 5 years, like where am I operating or when am I moving into those subconscious and unconscious spaces, and how are those impacting the ways in which I'm showing up?
Interesting. How do you do that?
You spend a lot of time by yourself.
I thought you were going to say weed.
Well, that could work too, I guess. You might need something stronger than that. But
Yeah, exactly.
so I think there's that aspect of presence. So it's kind of giving myself the space and time to really look at how I've been moving through the world and trying to connect the dots for myself into events that I know have happened in my past.
Yeah.
I think the other form of presence that I've been, maybe was like even more present in Italy, is how much we are distracted in our day-to-day lives. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of data, there's a lot of information, probably now more so than ever. AI is only expanding that exponentially.
Oh, God, I know.
And I think it's really, really easy to get distracted and be thinking about things that are maybe not actually all that important, but still hold a lot of space in our minds. And so presence for me was about how can I move through this trip with very limited expectations?
Cool.
How can I move through this trip by paying attention to the small things? Am I taking photographs of the way that a light is shining through a glass that's sitting on my table for breakfast, and thinking about how interesting and unique that tiny moment is for the light to perfectly hit in this exact way to create this really interesting pattern? Am I noticing it in how I see other people showing up culturally? So what are the differences in terms of how this completely different environment from where I live are interacting with one another? What are the differences in how they embrace community and move through their daily lives? And what are the tiny details? How many times do they say hello or stop to have a conversation that we just don't really often make the space for?
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. It's exactly the way I like to travel. You know, some folks, this is back to that explorer conversation. Some folks go to Italy and be like, well, we have to see the Colosseum.
Mm-hmm.
We have to see the Louvre. We have to go over here. We have to go there. And they're checking all these boxes off. To me, that's a disaster.
Yeah, I planned my trains. I planned my flights and my trains and my hotels. That was it.
And just winged it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Presence. So you got the subconscious, which you're kind of working through by kind of looking through a smaller lens and just being very observant of what's happening right now.
Yep.
The other point of consciousness would be like this kind of like talking consciousness. What was the other one?
Unconscious.
Unconscious.
There's the subconscious and the unconscious. They're very close, but they're different.
Explain it.
So subconscious, you might have some awareness that there's like something else under the surface. So you just like, it's generally related to level of awareness of whatever that factor is that's influencing you in that moment.
So you might know it because like a week ago, something happened.
Yeah.
Somebody told you that, you know, like not really recovered. It's kind of bubbling right under the surface.
Yeah. Or you know, I haven't eaten today, and you're sitting here and talking to me on this podcast for an hour, and I'm kind of mad at you because I'm really hungry. You know,
I didn't eat today either. Damn it. Realized that driving over here, I was like, oh, man, dang.
So it's like things that are driving us, but maybe we just have a slight bit more of awareness is how I most easily describe it. I also think like self-discovery drives a lot more into the subconscious. So you may not realize in the moment that it's impacting you, but can you reflect back and be able to connect and pull the dots?
Okay. So it's kind of like accessible emotional debris that's kind of like there that you can work through by like honoring it in some capacity.
That's my definition of it anyways.
I love it. Okay. And the unconscious.
Yeah. Unconscious is like really things that deeply, deeply drive us that we really do not have a good sense of control over the what or the why. And a lot of those unconscious levels, some of them are just like our animalistic tendencies of how we respond and move through the world. I think there's a book, I think it's called Sapiens, that's really interesting. And there's some other biological books that kind of like tack on to that question how much free will we actually have as humans. And a lot of that is the unconscious act of survival. And then I think there's also the brain is really, really powerful at suppressing things. And what we suppress, we might not have awareness of, but it still is probably driving us in some way, shape, or form.
Is there utility in kind of exploring that?
I don't know.
You're like, oh no.
I don't know. Maybe.
Is my, conscious mind just rationalizing stuff that's all unconscious? That's kind of the risk, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And how much time and space are you spending doing that? Because it doesn't always serve you.
Yeah. Now it's...
Therapy might be a good modality.
Go talk about that. It's like, the reason I'm feeling this way is 1, 2, 3, 4. But even if you don't have those 4 things, you still might feel that same way because that's just what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And how patterned is that too? Like, is it just because I think it's the reason it's complex is because there's constantly all these different factors that are changing our environments. And so what might bother me today may not bother me tomorrow. But that could be because I'm more sensitive in this 24-hour span to one explicit driver, then another one. And maybe it's not necessarily a pattern, or maybe it is a pattern. And maybe it's actually right around this time of month, like, or it could even be a time of year. I think grief is like a really strong indicator of this. Like you'll see people who have suffered a loss, and like when that kind of anniversary comes up, you know, they're more despondent, they're maybe a little bit more moody because this specific significant event happened during that period of time.
Which is triggering your subconscious, your unconscious, and your conscious.
Yeah. But if you...
like grief in a nutshell.
Yeah. But if the same thing happened any other week of the year, it might not bother you as much.
Yeah. There's like another kind of like level or element. There's probably a million of consciousness too. Tibetan Buddhist called Turiya. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not. Please tell me more.
It's pretty interesting. It's just kind of like the observer consciousness. So there's an aspect of your regular consciousness. Obviously, you can observe yourself having that experience. Subconscious, you can observe yourself being subversive on that. Unconscious, there's also the observer element there. And I think that's witnessed by, you know, like when you're in deep sleep.
Yeah.
And you're not dreaming, you're basically just like out,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But if you have a flight in the morning, somehow and your alarm doesn't go off, you're going to wake up right on time.
Yeah.
There's something else operate on a higher observer level that's also there,
Interesting.
potentially.
Fascinating.
I know, I love that one.
I need to dig into that.
It's great. There's a great book, the Tibetan, your book of yoga dreams, something like that.
Okay.
Shoot, I'm murdering it. I'll find it, but it's really good. Although it really freaked me out because the Rick Nosh that wrote it, brilliant guy, he was saying that like, I'd say the fun chapters about lucid dreaming.
Okay.
So like giving techniques of like
Sure.
how the Tibetans do it to drop into sleep with intention and like maintain consciousness. Like, you know, well, what do you do? Like, you can go fly, you can go explore temples, you can do whatever. He's like, no, when I enter into lucid dreaming, I go meditate. And I was like, oh my God, it never ends. Meditating during sleep? It melted me. I had to put the book down for like 6 months.
Have you read Why Do We Sleep? I think it's Why Do We Sleep. It's more like science behind what happens when we sleep.
Cool.
And why it's important
Why
for
do
our
we
survival.
sleep?
It's literally like basically, you know how every time something is wrong with a piece of technology and you can't figure out what's wrong with it, and
Plug it back in.
yeah, have you unplugged it and plugged it back in? Yeah, that's why we sleep.
I know, but like,
Have you unplugged it and plugged it back in?
all the time?
You need it to recharge your brain. Like literally, you need it to recharge
I know.
and reconnect pathways.
It seems weird.
They get
it's
burnt out.
obviously the least weird thing in the world. But unless everything's weird, which it kind of is. But
I mean,
like,
I think it
sometimes
is.
I'll be laying down, I'm like, it's so strange that everybody's just like sleeping all the time.
I mean, at least we're not all sleeping at the exact same time.
Just
Only
stagger it
clusters
out.
of us.
Exactly. I'll get up early and make pancakes. So fascinating. Okay. I want to make sure we talk a little bit more about your work.
Because we've gone on complete tangents.
Deep tangents, but that's the fun part I think about doing these in person, you know, because it makes the conversation more playful. So you said your background is in design,
Yes.
but you're obviously a computer engineer as well.
Well, maybe.
We're all AI.
We're all computer engineers now.
Yeah, yeah. But is kind of UI kind of your main focus?
So the program that I went through is actually an interdisciplinary design program. So it's called DAP, based out of University of Cincinnati. We studied, I was specifically in the mouthful of program called graphic communication design. I believe they have just renamed it to communication design now.
Nice.
But you study traditional print design, interaction, and motion design.
Yeah.
So as well as user-centered design principles. So kind of, I would call it more of a mindset program, and then your outputs vary. So I think it was really interesting for me, and it really shaped my career in a way that I probably always was this way, but that connected the dots for me in terms of, okay, there's a way of thinking and there's a way of approaching problems, and then there is the deliverables that I'm creating through that. And so because I was working across all of these very different mediums where traditional programs would probably have you really dive into one medium, My program did not force me to do that. And so it kind of carried this across this like mindset of like being able to take this style of thinking and apply it.
Connect the dots.
Abstraction, which was really interesting. I also have a minor in psychology and what I call 3/5 of an IT minor because I didn't want to finish it.
It's too boring.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't want to be in 18 credit hours. And honestly, I also like realized through taking like programming classes that I did not learn code that way. And sitting in a classroom for me was not useful.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
No.
You have to have a problem you're solving, and the code is just the way to get to this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is like where my connecting of dots over the last like year has really taken off. I think I've spent a lot of my career designing front ends and UIs.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped me more deeply understand front end. And now connecting the dots on the back end has been my journey over the last
So cool.
year.
Well,
Yeah.
now that Figma Anthropic connection, so you can basically just like design everything in Figma. Claude Code will know what you're trying to do, build the back end,
Yeah.
and then you can go back and forth designing within Figma, whatever design.
Can I tell you a secret?
What's that?
I haven't really used Figma in like almost a year.
How's that feel?
Honestly, great.
Great. I
Yeah,
know.
super great.
I know. With the AI augmented tools, it's like, it's amazing because you could just, I mean, my favorite is like design this like Joni Ive would design it and use storytelling in the UI that like gets it so close. But like literally there's, not to say that I'm like, you know, a little specific about it, but it's like, I want that 7 pixels to the left, but I'm too lazy to actually make that prompt and try and figure, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't love like designing in any of the prototyping tools, and it's less because of a capability and just more of like a what I fundamentally believe creativity needs. And I think my biggest superpower as a designer has not always been working in digital tools. So like my program honed in on still manual processes,
Cool.
even when Adobe Creative Suite was in full blown. So like
Yeah.
I had to hand paint chips, hundreds of them. I had to create entire color gradients, even though I could have opened up Photoshop and done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
There is just a different level of connection that happens when you are doing things physically. And so when I feel most stuck and when I'm starting new things, I almost always do it by hand.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still do that.
Nice. And well, and that over time, that kind of discipline just builds intuition.
Yeah,
You know, where
exactly.
it's like, the reason why I do this is like reasons. Don't ask me again.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, any digital tool, there are constraints.
Yeah.
And so whether that constraint is, and distractions, I would call it constraints and distractions.
Yeah.
It's hard for a tool that's that powerful to keep you focused on just making a mess,
Yeah.
which I think is super necessary.
Totally. Or what, you know, the great Bob Ross called happy accidents.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because
Exactly.
then that's when novelty and serendipity enters and you're like, wow, actually that is exactly what that needed.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And I find that sometimes with AI and some of these tools, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. But to get to that like final thing, or when I'm feeling most stuck and I can't figure out why I'm stuck, it's almost always I need to step away from the devices.
And put it in your hands.
Mhm.
Kind of
Yeah.
cool. I know you've got a bunch of projects, but I know you're also doing consulting work.
Yes.
What's a good place for people to connect with you online?
Oh, great. You can follow me on LinkedIn.
Uh-huh.
I have a new Instagram. It's got 4 posts on it. We're working on that.
What are you doing with the new Instagram?
I haven't fully decided yet.
Fitness influencing.
I thought about that briefly at one point in my life, but no, I don't think so.
You're pretty shredded.
Thank you.
Yeah. What do you do to stay fit?
When I'm at my best, I'm lifting like 4 to 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I really want to get back into swimming for cardio because I hate running.
Yeah.
It's also like terrible for your body.
Yeah.
And me in particular cannot handle the high impact. Right now it's more philosophical musings, I would say.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
Why'd you choose that channel?
I don't have a TikTok.
Why not?
I don't want one.
I see all your sports highlights.
I've cared less about those and less about those. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't on social media for 3.5 years, really, at all. So like the last 6-7 months is like, that was one of my new things where exploration. I'm going to try being on social media.
Cool.
It's still here, but I'm not sure what that looks like.
Yeah, I keep a pretty strict diet. You know, I do a lot of posting these days on social, so that makes it, puts it in a nice container where it's like, I'm there to post and check engagement stuff, but like, I don't want to get lost in that.
Yeah,
I'd rather just play like, you know, Clash, just hang out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I also have a Substack that I've been writing on recently. It's called Waste Bin Thoughts.
Waste bin thoughts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to put links to all this in the show notes so you guys can definitely connect with Alyssa. And of course, you have all of your projects, but you are doing consulting work. What's like your favorite kind of client, your favorite kind of projects you like to contribute to?
I mean, I think I approach projects like I approach most of the decisions in my life, which is this going to be challenging in some new way, and what can I learn from it? So that's kind of how I'm choosing what to work on right now.
Cool.
And also, I think the other added thing is balancing that between what do I want to take on and what is the cost of taking these things on and the benefit. And so I'm actually like doing like more business operations work right now, which is interesting, and sales stuff. So I've been scratching that muscle a little bit more than I ever have.
Cool.
That's been really fun. I'm doing some like workflow optimization stuff. And then I am spending a good amount of my time building new product.
Amazing. Any red flag projects you definitely do not want to work on?
I would say probably just like where I'm at right now, strictly like design gigs where I'm just doing like UI work is like fairly low on my list, mostly from like a bandwidth perspective. I'm really good at giving design critiques, but
Teardowns?
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't want to be designing like detailed workflows right now.
Cool.
I'm more interested in like systems thinking and architectural problems and that kind of stuff.
I love it. Before we get out of here, what are your 3 favorite lifts?
My 3 favorite lifts?
Yeah.
Ooh. Let's see. Definitely got to throw in the squat.
Squat. Classic back squat.
Yeah, classic squat.
Okay.
I like some kettlebell stuff. I know that's like, I've been into calisthenics lately, so that's really where I've been feeding my itch.
Cool. And that's like the body weight type.
Yeah,
movements?
it's mostly body weight focused on flexibility,
mobility,
and mobility
like
stuff.
Cool.
And then deadlifts. I'm pretty generic, I guess. I do very traditional weightlifting.
Yeah. Ollie lifting.
I've been doing cycling lately. That's kicking my butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't do that. That or running, I'm with you. It's like the cardio. I'm trying to convince myself yoga's cardio. It is.
It depends on how hard you go, you know? It's really all it is. Jump roping's fun. Have you tried that?
Yeah, I do.
I like jump roping.
I like jump roping too.
Yeah.
You know, double unders, triple unders, time to time. Got to make sure you have the proper shoes because that could hurt.
Yeah, I got a stress fracture from that a few years ago.
Ooh, where?
My tibia.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like on the shin?
Yeah.
Oh my God, from jump rope?
That's what I would attribute it to, yes. Yeah.
Was it from the rope hitting your shin or was it just from like all the repetitive motion?
I think the repetitive motion and wearing bad shoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, you must be really whipping that thing. Amazing. Alyssa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This
was
awesome.
fun.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
This episode is brought to you by a dangerous idea. It's called reading, specifically the AI for Founders newsletter. 47,000 founders strong now, and it's the good stuff. No top 10 AI tools that will change your life written by someone who doesn't ship product. It's just real breakdowns of what's actually working in AI. Who's raised, who failed, who pivoted, and which founders quietly built $1 million in ARR while everyone else was arguing on X. It's written for people building with AI. Every week you get tactical frameworks, unfair advantages, breakdowns of real companies, and the occasional existential question about whether your startup is intelligent or just well-branded. It's free, it's sharp, it might mildly offend your current workflow. Go to aiforfounders.co and subscribe before your competitor does. Because the only thing worse than being replaced by AI is being replaced by a founder who reads. That's the newsletter at aiforfounders.co. Now back to the show. This episode is brought to you by MoBurst, the AI-first growth engine trusted by iconic startups like Calm, Robinhood, Reddit, Uber, and Google. MoBurst is a digital full-service mobile-first marketing agency that helps companies to scale and become category leaders. Whether you're finding product-market fit or ready to accelerate growth, MoBurst delivers creative, data-driven solutions that help with scale and efficiency and impact. At MoBurst, we're not just guessing what works, we're predicting it. As an AI-first agency, MoBurst uses cutting-edge tools to analyze user behavior, adapt creative in real time, and uncover hidden growth opportunities. The result, marketing that's faster, smarter, and built to convert. From early-stage startups to global brands, we've helped hundreds of companies overcome complex challenges, unlock new audiences, and optimize every metric that matters. At MoBurst, we believe that creative thinking, advanced technology, and data are the core drivers of success at scale. If you're serious about scaling your business with precision and purpose, it's time to talk to MoBurst. Visit moburst.com and let's build something category-defining together.